Gotta start off with the EULA. Alright, this is how much of the EULA we have to go through. So the EULA I gotta go through. And then the terms of service. Oh my god. Alright, and the privacy policy. Alright, well, I'm doing it. Starting off to the EULA. Alright, here we go. This software is licensed, not sold. Psyonix Incorporated, a California corporation, and its affiliated companies, collectively Psyonix, reserves all rights not expressly granted to you. The product that is subject to this license is referred to in this license as the software. The software includes all software included. What? With this end user license agreement and the accompanying manuals, packaging, and other written filers. What? Oh my god. Electronic or online materials or documentation and any and all copies of such software and its materials, the agreement as may be amended from time to time and published at www.rocketleague.com/EULA incorporates the terms of service www.rocketleaguegame.com/TOS and privacy policy www.rocketleaguegame.com/privacy. And we're gonna find it. Let me find it. Onyx is a legal binding. This is a legal between you and Psyonix. Please review this agreement carefully before installing, accessing, or utilizing the software you have just purchased. By installing, copying, and or otherwise using the software, and each time you access the software, you are signifying your acknowledgement and acceptance of and compliance with this agreement. If you do not agree to all the terms of this agreement, you are not permitted to open, download, install, copy, or use the software. If you have any questions about this agreement, you can reach Psyonix at Psyonix Incorporated, 707 Broadway Street, Suite 1600, San Diego, California, 92101. If you are not 18 years of age, have your parents or legal guardian review and approve this agreement on your behalf. Your consent to this agreement and use of the software signifies that you have received the specific permission of your parent or legal guardian. Number 1. User's acknowledgement and acceptance of terms. The software is offered subject to your compliance with all of the terms and conditions contained herein and all other operating rules, policies, and procedures. In addition, some applications offered through or in connection with the software may be subject to additional terms and conditions promulgated by Psyonix from time to time. Any material modifications to the agreement will also be brought to your attention by posting at www.rocketleaguegame.com/EULA. Such material modifications will be effective immediately and will apply to disputes arising under the agreement of the date of posting forward. Your continued use of the software after a modification has been made to the agreement constitutes your acceptance of such modification. Number 2, limited use license. Subject to your compliance with the terms and conditions of the agreement, Psyonix hereby grants you a non-exclusive, non-transferable, and license to install and use one copy of the software solely and exclusively for your personal and non-commercial use for gameplay on a single game platform, e.g. computer, mobile device, or gaming console. This agreement shall also apply to any patches or updates you may obtain for the software. Duplication, copying, or any form of reproduction of the software or related information, materials, or other content to any other server or location for the purposes of duplication, copying, or any other form of reproduction is expressly and explicitly prohibited. This license does not give you any title or ownership in the software, and you should not be construed as a sale or transfer of any intellectual property rights to the software. All rights not specifically granted under this agreement are hereby preserved by Psyonix and as applicable by its licensors. Number 3, no right to ownership. You acknowledge and agree that you shall have no ownership or other property interest in the software, and you further acknowledge and agree that such rights are and shall forever be owned by and inure to the benefit of Psyonix, except as expressly licensed to you herein, all right, title, and interest into the software, and any and all associated copyrights, trademarks, and intellectual properties therein and or related thereto, and all copies thereof, including, but not limited to, any patches, updates, copies, derivative works, titles, computer code, themes, objects, characters, character names, stories, dialogues, catchphrases, locations, concepts, artwork, images, animations, sounds, musical compositions, audio, visual effects, text, methods of operation, moral rights, applets incorporated into the software, and any related documentation are owned by Psyonix or Psyonix's licensors. This software is protected by United States copyright and trademark law and applicable laws and treaties throughout the world. The software may not be copied, reproduced, or distributed in any manner or medium, in whole or in part, without prior written consent from Psyonix. Any persons copying, reproducing, or distributing all or any portion of the software in any manner or medium will be willfully violating the copyright laws and may be subject to civil and criminal penalties in the United States or their local country. Be advised that United States copyright violations are subject to statutory penalties of up to $150,000 per violation. The software contains certain licensed materials, and Psyonix's licensors may also protect their rights in the event of any violation of this agreement. All rights not expressly granted under this agreement are reserved by Psyonix and as applicable to its licensors. Number 4. No sale or assignment. Psyonix does not recognize the transfer of the software, with the exception of virtual currency and virtual goods as defined in Section 6 below. Other than virtual currency and virtual goods, you may not give, purchase, sell, bargain, barter, market, trade, offer for sale, license, assign, or otherwise divest your rights, responsibilities, or obligations under the agreement, either in whole or in part, without the prior written consent of Psyonix. Any attempt to do so shall be void and of no effect. Psyonix allows you the limited ability to trade virtual currency and virtual goods with other users who lawfully possess this software under conditions provided with the virtual currency and virtual goods. Number 5. License conditions. 1. You agree to use the software or any part of it in a manner that is consistent with this agreement, and you shall not A. Exploit the software or any of its parts, including but not limited to for-profit exploitation at a cyber internet cafe, computer gaming center, or any other location-based site, but excluding purely not-for-profit use in which no compensation in the form of payment or benefit is received. B. Use the software or permit the use of the software on more than one computer, use of the software, or make the software available for use in a network, multi-user arrangement, remote access arrangement, including where it could be downloaded by multiple users. D. Sell, rent, lease, license, distribute, or otherwise transfer the software or any other copies. E. Reverse engineer, derive source code, modify, decompile, disassemble, copy, or create derivative works of the software, in whole or in part, except as the applicable law expressly permits, in which case all and any modifications, adaptations, copies, improvements, etc., shall belong to, vest in, and be the exclusive property of Psyonix and or its licensors on creation, in any event. F. Remove, disable, or circumvent any security protections, proprietary notices, or labels contained on or within the software. G. Export or re-export the software or any copy of adaptation in violation of any applicable laws or regulations. H. Create data or executable programs which mimic data or functionality in the software unless provided for in Section 5I below. Or I. Use the part of the software which allows you to construct new variations editor to create new levels which 1. Can be used otherwise in connection with the software, 2. To modify any executable file, 3. To product any libellous, defamatory, or other illegal material or material that is scandalous or invades the rights of privacy or publicity.
Bro, I
of a
just
third
come
party.
back and all I hear is
To use the trademarks, copyright, or intellectual. Mute me, please. Hold up. Sorry about that, guys. We were interrupted rudely. But I believe we are on 4. To use the trademarks, copyright, or intellectual property rights of any third party. V. Are then commercially exploited by you through pay per play or time-sharing device services or otherwise. For the avoidance of doubt, you are solely liable and responsible for any claims by a third party resulting from your use of the editor. Number 2. The software may include measures to control access to the software, control access to certain features or content, prevent unauthorized copies, or otherwise attempt to prevent anyone from exceeding the limited rights and licenses granted under this agreement. Such measures may include incorporating license management, product aviation, and other security technology in the software and monitoring usage, including, but not limited to, time, date, access, or other controls, counters, serial numbers, and or other security devices assigned to prevent the unauthorized access, use, and copying of the software or any portions of components thereof, including any violations of this agreement. Psyonix reserves the rights to... where does it say that? Okay, monitor use of the software at any time. You may not interfere with such access or control measures or attempt to disable, circumvent such security features, and if you do, the software may not function properly. Additional terms and registration may be required to access online services and to download software updates and patches. Only software subject to a valid license can be used to access online services, including downloading updates and patches. Except as otherwise prohibited by applicable law, Psyonix may limit, suspend, or terminate the license granted hereunder and access to the software, including but not limited to any related services and products, at any time without notice for any reason whatsoever. 3. You agree that you shall abide by the safety information, maintenance instructions, or other relevant notices contained in the manual or other documentation accompanying the software. 6. Virtual currency and virtual goods. If the software allows you to purchase and or earn through play a license to use virtual currency and virtual goods, the following additional terms and conditions apply. 1. The software may enable users to use fictional currency as a medium of exchange exclusively within the software, virtual currency or VC. Number 2. Gain access to and certain limited rights to use virtual goods within the software, virtual goods or VG. And 3. Barter or exchange VC and VG with other users of this software. Regardless of the terminology used, VC and VG represent a limited license right governed by this agreement. Subject to the terms of an compliance with this agreement, Psyonix hereby grants you the non-exclusive, non-transferable, non-sublicensable, limited and revocable right and use and license to use VC and VG obtained by you for your personal, non-commercial gameplay exclusively within the software. Except as otherwise prohibited by applicable law, VC and VG obtained by you are licensed to you, and you hereby acknowledge that no title or ownership in or to VC and VG is... One second... Sorry, every time I go down, I lose where it is because it's so weird like that. Acknowledge that no title or ownership in or to VC and VG is being transferred or assigned hereunder. This agreement should not be construed as a sale of any rights in VC and VG. VC and VG do not have an equivalent value in real currency and do not act as a substitute for real currency. You are prohibited from converting VC and VG into a unit of value outside of the software, such as actual currency or actual goods. You acknowledge and agree that Psyonix may revise or take action that impacts the perceived value of a purchased price for any VC and or VG at any time except as prohibited by applicable law. VC and VG do not incur fees for non-use, provided, however, that the license granted hereunder to VC and VG will terminate in accordance with the terms and conditions of this agreement and the software documentation when Psyonix ceases providing the software, or this agreement is otherwise terminated. Psyonix, in its sole discretion, reserves the right to charge fees for the right to access or use VC or VG and or may distribute VC or VG without a charge. 2. You may have the ability to purchase VC or to earn VC from Psyonix for the completion of certain activities or accomplishments in the software. For example, psionics may provide VC or VG upon the completion of an in-game activity such as attaining a new level, completing a new task, or creating your user content. Once obtained, VC and or VG will be credited to your user account. You may purchase VC and VG only within the software or through a platform participating third-party online store, application store, or other store authorized by Psionics, all referred to herein as software store. Purchased and use of in-game items or currency through a software store are subject to the software store's governing documents, including but not limited to the terms of service and user agreement. But online service has been sub-licensed to you by the software store. Psionics may offer discounts or time without notice to you. Upon completing an authorized purchase of VC from a software store, the amount of purchased VC will be credited to your user account. Psionics shall establish a maximum amount you may spend to purchase VC per transaction and per day, which may vary depending on the associated software. Psionics, in its sole discretion, may impose additional limits on the amount of VC you may purchase or use, how you may use VC, and the maximum balance of VC that may be accredited to your user account. You are solely responsible for all VC purchases made through your user account, regardless of whether or not authorized by you. Number 3. Purchase and use of VC and VG are subject to the network terms of service and user agreement. This online service has been sublicensed to you by Sony Interactive Entertainment America. Any VC and VG purchased in an online store, an in-game store, will be purchased from Sony Interactive Entertainment Network Limited and be subject to PlayStation Network terms of service and user agreement, which is available on the PlayStation Store. Please check usage rights for each.
I'm gonna go. Guys, I'm gonna go hang out with my cousin a bit, alright? Yeah.
Please mute me, dude. Oh my god, dude.
Alright.
Please mute me, Mohammed.
What?
Please mute me.
Can I mute you?
Please.
Why? Wait, why do you want me to mute you?
Because I'm streaming right now.
Alright.
Oh my god. Effing chat. That totally ruined it. And I even told him to meet me earlier too. Alright.
Alright guys, I gotta go, bye.
I'm sorry about that. That was the most rude thing, but wow. Alright, well he ruined it, but okay. PlayStation Network terms of service and user agreement, which is available on the PlayStation Store. Please check usage rights for each purchase, as these may differ from each VC and VG. Unless otherwise shown, VC and VG available in any in-game store has the same age rating as the game. 4. You can access and view your available VC and VG in your user account when logged into your user account. Psionics reserves the right, in its sole discretion, to make all calculations regarding the available VC and VG in your user account. Psionics further reserves the right, in its sole discretion, to determine the amount of and manner in which VC is credited and debited from your user account in connection with your purchase of VG or for other purposes. While Psionics strives to make all such calculations on a consistent and reasonable basis, you hereby acknowledge and agree that Psionics' determination of the available VC and VG in your user account is final, unless you can provide documentation to Psionics that such calculation was or is intentionally incorrect. 5. All purchased in-game virtual currency and or virtual goods may be consumed or lost by players in the course of gameplay according to the game's rules applicable to currency and goods, which may vary depending on the associated software. VC and VG may only be used within the software, and Psionics, in its sole discretion, may limit use of VC and or VG to a single game. The authorized uses and purposes of VC and VG may exchange at any time. Your available VC and or VG, as shown in your user account, will be reduced each time you use VC and or VG within the software. The use of any VC under VG constitutes a demand against and withdrawal from your available VC and/or VG in your user account. You must have sufficient available VC and/or VG in your user account in order to complete a transaction within the software. VC and/or VG in your user account may be reduced without notice upon the occurrence of certain events related to your use of the software. You are responsible for all uses of VC and/or VG made through your user account, regardless of whether or not authorized by you. You must notify Psyonix immediately upon discovering the unauthorized use of any VC and/or VG made through your user account by submitting a request to. Oh god, I can't find it, dude. www.rocketleaguegame.com/support. 6. VC and VG may only be redeemed for an in-game goods and services. You may not sell, lease, license, or rent VC or VG. VC and VG may only be redeemed for in-game goods or services and are not redeemable for any sum of money or monetary value or other goods from Psyonix or in any person or entity. At any time, except as expressly provided herein or otherwise required by applicable law. VC and VG have no cash value, and neither Psyonix nor any other person or entity has an obligation to exchange your VC or VG for anything of value, including but not limited to real currency. 7. All purchases of VC and VG are final, and under no circumstances will such purchases be refundable, transferable, or exchangeable. Except as prohibited by applicable law, Psyonix has the absolute right to manage, regulate, control, modify, suspend, and/or eliminate such VC and/or VG as it sees fit in sole discretion, and Psyonix shall have no liability to you or anyone else for the exercise of such rights. 8. Transferring, trading, selling, or exchanging of any VC or VG to anyone other than in game play using the software as expressly authorized by Psyonix, unauthorized transactions, including but not limited to, among other uses of the software, is not sanctioned by Psyonix and is strictly forbidden. Psyonix. Oh my god, dude, where is it? Yeah, okay. Sorry about that. I cannot find it because it's so dumb the way they scroll down. Psyonix reserves the right in its sole discretion to terminate, suspend, or modify the user account and your VC and VG and terminate this agreement if you engage in, assist in, or request any unauthorized transactions. All users who participate in such activities do so at their own risk and hereby agree to indemnify and hold harmless Psyonix, its partners, licensors, affiliates, contractors, officers, directors, employees, and agents from all damages, losses, and expenses arising directly or indirectly from such actions. You acknowledge that Psyonix may request that the applicable software store stop, suspend, terminate, discontinue, or reverse any unauthorized transaction, regardless of when such unauthorized transaction occurred or has yet to occur, when it suspects or has evidence of fraud, violations of this agreement, violations of any applicable law or regulation, or any intentional act designed to interfere or that otherwise has the effect of or may have the effect of intervening in any way with the operation of the software. If Psyonix believes or has any reason to suspect that you have engaged in an unauthorized transaction, you further agree that Psyonix may, in its sole discretion, restrict your access to your available VC and VG in your user account or terminate or suspend your user account and your rights to use any VC, VG, and other items associated with your user account. 9. VC is only available to customers in certain locations. You may not purchase or use VC if you are not in an approved location. Number 7. That was a long one. The VC and VG one. Oh my god, that took forever. Okay, we're not done. We're not even close to being done. 7. Information collection and usage. By installing and using the software, you consent to the information collection and usage terms set forth in this section and Psyonix's privacy policy, including where applicable to 1. The transfer of any personal information and other information to Psyonix, its affiliates, vendors, and business partners, and to certain other third parties, such as governmental authorities in the United States and other countries located outside Europe or your home country, including countries that may have lower standards of privacy protection. 2. The public display of your data, such as identifications of your user-created content or displaying your stores, ranking achievements, and other gameplay data on websites and other platforms. 3. The and disclosures of your personal information or other information as specified in the above referenced privacy policy, as amended from time to time. If you do not want your information used or shared in this manner, then you should not use the software. For the purposes all data privacy issues, including the collection, use, disclosure, and transfer of your personal information and other information, the privacy policy located at www.rocketleaguegame.com/privacy, as amended from time to time, takes precedence over any other statement in this agreement. Well, let me see how much I have left. I have a little bit left in the EULA. 8. Disclaimer of warranties, limitation of liability. To the fullest extent permissible under applicable law, you expressly agree that the use of software is at your sole risk and that the entire task is to satisfactory quality, performance, accuracy, and effort is with you. To the maximum extent permitted by applicable law, all materials and software are provided on an as is and as value available basis, with all faults and without warranty of any kind, and Psyonix hereby disclaims all warranties and conditions without respect to the software, either expresses or implied, including but not limited to the implied warranties of mechanicability or satisfactory quality, or fitness for a particular purpose, of accuracy, of quiet enjoyment, and not non-infringement of third-party rights. Without limiting the foregoing, Psyonix makes no warranty that A. the software will meet your requirements, B. the software will be uninterrupted, timely, secure, or error-free, C. the software will be interoperable or compatible with any other software, or D. the results that may be obtained from the use of the software will be effective, accurate, or reliable. No oral or written information or advice given by Psyonix or its authorized representative or representatives shall create a warranty. At some point in the future, the software may go out of date, and Psyonix makes no commitment to update such software. The disclaimers of hold up. I'm lost now. Sorry about that. Disclaimers of liability contained in the section apply to any damages or injury caused by any failure of performance, error, omission, interruption, deletion, defect, delay in operation or transmission, computer virus, communication line failure, theft or destruction or unauthorized process to alteration of or use of the software. For breach of contract, tortious behavior, negligence, or under any other cause of action. The use of the software or the downloading or other acquisition of any materials through or in connection with the software is done at your own discretion and risk and your own with your agreement that you will be solely responsible for any damage to your computer system or loss of data that results from such activities. Psyonix makes no representations about the suitability of the information contained in the software, information and/or related graphics published as a part of the software for any purpose. The software, information, and related graphics published as part of the software may include technical inaccuracies or typographical errors. You understand and agree that temporary interruptions of the software may occur as normal events. You further understand and agree that Psyonix has no control over third-party networks. Oh my god, I accidentally just pushed down. Has no control over third-party networks you may access in the course of the use of software, and therefore, delays and disruption of other network transmissions are completely beyond Psyonix's control. You acknowledge and agree that your exclusive remedy for any dispute with Psyonix to stop using the software. In no cause shall any liability of Psyonix to you exceed the amounts that you paid to Psyonix or its affiliates and/or designees for the applicable software giving rise to any such liability. In no event shall Psyonix or its affiliates be liable to you or any third party for any special, punitive, incidental, indirect, or consequential damages of any kind of or nature, including without limitation those results from loss of use, data, or profits, whether or not Psyonix has been advised of the possibility or such damages, and on any theory of liability arising out of or in connection with the use of the software, including damages to property, loss of goodwill, computer failure and malfunction, and to the extent permitted by law, damages for personal injuries, even if Psyonix has been advised to the possibility of such damages. Because some states or jurisdictions do not allow the exclusion or the limitation of liability for consequential or incidental damages, in such states or jurisdictions, the liability of Psyonix shall be limited to the fullest extent permitted by law. Residents of California are entitled to the following specific consumer rights information. You may contact the Compliant Assistance Unit of the Division of Consumer Software of the Department of Consumer Affairs by mail at 400 R Street, Suite 1080, Sacramento, California 95814, or telephone at 916-445-1254. California residents expressly agree to waive California Civil Codes Sector 1542, which states a general release does not extend to claims which the creditor does not know or suspect to exist in his favor at the time of executing the release, which if known by him must have materially affected his settlement with the debtor. Number 9. How much do I have left? Oh my god. Alright, we're almost done with the EULA. Number 9. Where is it? Where is it? Come on. Number 9 is a short one, I think. Number 9. Indemnification. Upon a request by Psyonix, you agree to defend, indemnify, and hold Psyonix and its affiliates harmless from all liabilities, claims, losses, costs, and expenses, including attorney's fees that arise from A, your use of or activities in connection with the software, B, any violation of the agreement by you, or C, any allegation that any content that you make available via the software infringes or otherwise violates the copyright, trademark, trade secret, privacy, or other intellectual property or other rights of any third party. Psyonix reserves the right at its own expense to assume the exclusive defenses and control of any matter otherwise subject to indemnification by you, in which event you will cooperate with Psyonix in asserting any available defenses. Number 10. International use. Although the software may be accessible worldwide, Psyonix makes no representation that the software or related materials are appropriate or available for use in locations outside the United States, and accessing them from territories where the content is illegal is prohibited. Those who choose to access the software from other locations do so on their own initiative and are responsible for compliance with local laws, and if to the extent local laws are applicable. Any offer and/or information made in connection with the software is void where prohibited. Without limiting the foregoing, the software may not be exported or re-exported A into or a national resident of any United States embargoed countries or B to anyone on the United States Treasury Department's list of specially designed nationals or the United States Department of Commerce denied persons list or entity list. By accessing and using the software, you represent and warrant that you are not located in and under control of or a national resident of any such country or on any such list. 11. Termination. This agreement is effective until terminated by you or by Psyonix. This agreement automatically terminates when Psyonix ceases to operate the software servers for games exclusively operated online. If Psyonix determines or believes your use of the software involves or may involve fraud or money laundering, or any other illicit activity, or upon your failure to comply with the terms and conditions of this agreement, including but not limited to the license conditions in Section 5 above, you may terminate this agreement at any time by 1. Requesting Psyonix to terminate and delete your user account that is used to access or use the software using the method set forth in the terms of service, or 2. Destroying and or deleting any and all copies of software in your possession, custody, or control. If this agreement terminates due to your violation of this agreement, Psyonix may prohibit you from re-registering or re-accessing the software. Upon any termination of this agreement, you must destroy or return the physical copy of software, as well as permanently destroy all copies of the software, accompanying documentation, associated materials, and all of its component parts in your possession or control, including from any client server, computer, gaming unit, or mobile device on which it has been installed. Upon termination of this agreement, your rights to use the software, including any VC or VG associated with your user account, will terminate immediately, and you must cease all use of the software. The termination of this agreement will not affect our rights or your obligations arising under this agreement. The provisions of sections 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 11, 12, and 13 survive any termination of this agreement. 12. Injunction. You hereby agree that if the terms of this agreement are not specifically enforced, Psyonix will be irreparably damaged, and therefore you agree that Psyonix shall be entitled without bond, other security, or proof of damages to appropriate equitable remedies with respect to any of this agreement, including temporary and permanent injunctive relief, in addition to any other available remedies. Alright, last one now. 13. Miscellaneous. All access to and use of the software is subject to this agreement, the applicable software documentation, Psyonix's terms of service, and Psyonix's privacy policy, and all terms and conditions of the terms of service are hereby incorporated into this agreement. Oh my god. I pressed back. Okay. Where are we at? Miscellaneous? I'm just going to restart from miscellaneous. All access to and use of the software is subject to agreement, the applicable software documentation, Psyonix's terms of service, and Psyonix's privacy policy, and all terms and conditions of the terms of service are hereby incorporated into this agreement by this reference. These agreements represent the complete agreement between you and Psyonix relating to use of the software and related services and or products, and supersede and replace any prior agreements between you and Psyonix, whether written or oral. To the extent there is a conflict between this agreement and the terms of service, this agreement shall control. If any part of the agreement is determined to be invalid or unenforceable, pursuant to applicable law, including but not limited to the warranty disclaimers and liability limitations set forth above, then the invalid or unenforceable provision will be deemed superseded by a valid enforceable position provision that most closely matches the intent of the original provision and the remainder of the agreement shall continue in effect. Any failure by Psyonix to reinforce or exercise any provision of the agreement or related rights shall not constitute a waiver of that right or provision. Psyonix may assign this agreement in whole or in part at any time. Okay. Um, I'm back. I was doing something. That was weird of me to leave middle, but anyway, let's just continue on. About to finish this thing. How much do we have left? Not much at all. Okay. Um, would deem superseded by a valid enforceable provision that most closely matches the intent of the original provision and the remainder of the agreement shall continue in effect. Any failure by Psyonix to enforce or exercise any provision of the agreement or related rights shall not constitute a waiver of that right or provision. Psyonix may assign this agreement in whole or in part at any time, notwithstanding you may not assign, transfer, or sublicense any or all of your rights or obligations under the agreement without Psyonix's express prior written consent. Psyonix's performance of the agreement is subject to existing laws and legal process, and nothing contained in the agreement is in derogation of Psyonix's rights to comply with the governmental court and law enforcement requests or requirements relating to your use of the software or information provided to or gathered by Psyonix with respect to such use. In addition to any excuse provided by applicable law, Psyonix shall be excused from liability for non-delivery or delay in the delivery of the software arising from any event beyond our reasonable control, whether or not foreseeable by either party, including but not limited to labor disturbance, war, terrorism, fire, denial of service attack, internet outages, accident, adverse weather, inability to secure transportation, governmental act or regulation. Any other causes or events beyond our reasonable control, whether or not similar to those which are enumerated above. The parties agree that all correspondence relating to this agreement shall be written in the English language. This agreement shall be construed under California law as such law is applied to agreements between the California residents entered into and to be performed within the state of California, except as governed by federal law, and you consent to the exclusive jurisdiction of the state and federal courts in San Diego, California. Here we go, finally at the end of the ULA. I hereby acknowledge that I have read and understand the foregoing end-user license agreement and agree that my use of the software is an acknowledgement of my agreement to be bound by the end-user license agreement. Alright, we finished the EULA. That took literally 45 minutes. Yes, 45 minutes. But we finished the EULA. So, in theory, if this took 45 minutes, then this will take 45 minutes. And then this will take 45 minutes, which means this whole live stream will be over 2 hours. Will be 2 hours and about 15 minutes long, considering that all will take 45 minutes. So, what am I doing, you exactly ask? Wasting my time. So let's go into the terms of service. Terms of use. 1. You must agree to these terms of use before using the Psyonix's services, including Psyonix's games. I hate myself so much. These terms of use consist of the terms, conditions, disclaimers, notices, and policies, collectively the terms that apply to your access and use of the websites of Psyonix Incorporated, a Delaware USA corporation, Psyonix, We, Our, and Us, and any all games, products, services, and applications provided by Psyonix on any platform, collectively the services. These terms constitute a binding contract between you and Psyonix that provides for important rights and obligations. For clarity, these terms are an agreement between you and Psyonix only, and not between you and any of Psyonix's licensors, including without limitation Microsoft, Sony, or any of their affiliates. These terms include the provisions in this document, as well as those in Psyonix's privacy policy. By accessing, browsing, and or using the services, you represent to Psyonix that you have read, understood, and agree to be bound by these terms and all applicable local, state, national, and international and or using the services. You represent to Psyonix that you have read, understood, and agree to be bound by these terms and all applicable local, state, national, and international laws and conventions, including without limitation all intellectual property laws. Psyonix reserves the right, at its sole and absolute discretion, to deny any other users to any services without notice. If you violate any of the terms, Psyonix may, at its option, give you a warning notice of violation or terminate your account immediately for violation of the terms. If you do not agree to all of these terms, you may not access or use the services. Oh my god, is this the same thing? Wait, hold on. This is not the use. Oh my god. I wish it was the same thing so I could skip over it. No. Oh no, no, no. Oh, I don't know if I want to do this or not, dude. So you're talking about VC and VG again right here. Like I already read that last the EULA. What's a privacy policy look like? Privacy policy doesn't look as long, but I have to read this too. Oh my god, that took like what, 15 seconds to scroll down. Oh my goodness, what am I doing? There's 20 sections on here, dude. Oh, balls. 20 sections. Are you serious, bro? Dude, I don't know. Screw it, we're going. We're doing this. I'm gonna finish this. If this is the last thing I do, I will finish the terms of service, EULA, and privacy policy. If it's the last thing I do. Wish me luck, soldiers. If we not agree, yeah, okay. No, these terms contain a binding arbitration and class action waiver provision in Section 17 that may affect your rights under these terms with respect to any dispute as defined below between you and Psyonix. You have a right to opt out of the binding arbitration and class action waiver provisions as described in Section 17. Hold on, I'll be right back. I need to take a break real quick. I'll be back. I'm back from the world's longest break, and now number 2, eligibility to accept terms and use services. Restrictions. By use of the services, you agree that you are either 18 years of age or older or possess legal parental or guardian consent to use the services. Mom, can I play Rocket League? Oh, she said no. I should probably stop reading the terms of service then. Nah, screw that. By your use of the services, you agree that you are either 18 years of age or older or possess legal parental or guardian consent to the use of services. And that you are fully able and competent to understand and accept these terms as a binding contract and abide by all terms. If you are under 18, your parent or guardian agrees to these terms on your behalf and is responsible and liable for your compliance with the terms. Excuse me. You will only use the services for your own internal, personal, non-commercial use and not on behalf of or for the benefit of any third party, and only in a manner that complies with all laws that apply to you. 3. Psyonix's rights to modify the terms. We are constantly trying to improve our services, so these terms may need to change along with the services. Psyonix may modify these terms at any time, with or without notice to you, by posting the modified terms on our websites. Your continued use of the services after such modification shall be deemed to be your acceptance of any such modification. Any such modification will only apply to matters and events that occur following the date of modification. You may not modify these terms without the prior written authorization of an officer of Psyonix. It is your responsibility to check these terms regularly to determine whether they have been modified. If you do not agree to any modification of these services, you must immediately cease use of the services. 4. Policy on privacy. These terms include the privacy policy relating to collection, use, and disclosure of your information. Please read the privacy policy carefully. Note that as described in the privacy policy, we do not knowingly collect personally identifiable information from children under 13 or older. If applicable, law provides for different protections. 5. Psyonix has ownership of the services and proprietary materials. The services contain copyrighted materials, technology, trademarks, service marks, trade secrets, and other proprietary information, which may include computer code, text, data, video, images, illustrations, animations, sound, musical compositions and recordings, audio visual effects, color schemes, business methods and methods of operation, concepts, ideas, know-how, moral rights, and any related documentation, collectively the proprietary material. All intellectual property rights to the proprietary material, including without limitation patent, copyright, trademark, and trade secret rights, are owned or licensed by Psyonix. You agree not to copy, download, reproduce, republish, upload, post, transmit, perform, display, distribute, or sell, or in any other way exploit the proprietary material, or to participate with or to encourage others to engage in such acts without the prior written consent of Psyonix, and B. may not reverse engineer, disassemble, decompile, or translate any computer software programs that comprise proprietary material, or otherwise attempt to derive the source of code of such programs, except that the foregoing restrictions on copyright, copying, or reverse engineering does not apply to the extent prohibited by applicable law. No proprietary material or any portion thereof may be modified or used for any purpose other than as expressly authorized in these terms. The proprietary material may include materials licensed by Psyonix from third parties, and the licensors of those materials may enforce their rights in the event of any violation of this agreement. All rights not expressly granted to you in this agreement are reserved by Psyonix and its licensors or suppliers. 6. Ownership of ideas, inventions, and user submissions, including user-generated content. The services provide you with access to a variety of resources, materials, and downloads, and may allow you to access content made available by other users of the services. Such content may include, without limitation, game levels, content creation tools, audio, video, film, music, text, communication softwares, graphics, images, and information. All such content made available by you or other users of the service is referred to in this agreement as user-generated content. As between Psyonix and you, you own the copyright in any user-generated content that is exclusively created by you. You expressly acknowledge and agree that any user-generated content that you make available through the services may be made freely available by Psyonix to others, including without limitation for download by others. You further acknowledge and agree that this permission is made by is made and granted by you in consideration of your use of the services, and that this permission constitutes and hereby grant a worldwide, non-exclusive, perpetual, royalty-free, irrevocable, and transferable license to Psyonix to use, copy, perform, display, and distribute such user-generated content, and to grant and authorize sublicenses of use of such user-generated content to others. From time to time, you may disclose, submit, or offer to Psyonix comments, feedback, suggestions, gameplay features, level designs, and other submissions, user ideas. You hereby grant a worldwide, non-exclusive, perpetual, royalty-free, irrevocable, and transferable license to Psyonix to use, copy, perform, display, and distribute such user ideas, and to grant and authorize sublicenses of such user ideas to others. Unless otherwise prohibited by law, Psyonix may use, sell, exploit, or create derivative works from these user ideas, and further, Psyonix may disclose these user ideas to third parties or the general public without compensation to you. Excuse me. You acknowledge that user ideas and user-generated content are provided by you on a completely voluntary basis. You should not wish to have your user ideas and user-generated content subject to the licenses set forth above. You may choose not to share them with Psyonix or on the services. 7. End user license. All Psyonix software is licensed, not sold. Such software includes the Psyonix game software that Psyonix provides to you for download and installation games. Subject to your compliance with these terms, Psyonix hereby grants you a non-exclusive, non-transferable, limited, and revocable right and license to install and use one copy of each game solely and exclusively for personal and non-commercial use for gameplay on a single game system, e.g. computer, mobile device, or gaming console, that you own or control if you obtain the game through the PlayStation Network, PSN, then on a system to which the game is delivered by the PSN. For clarity, the foregoing does not prohibit you from installing and using an additional copy of each game on a different game system. These terms shall also apply to any patches or updates you may obtain for the games. Duplication, copying, or any form of reproduction of the games or related information, materials, or other content to any other server or location for the purposes of duplication, copying, or any other form of reproduction is, to the fullest extent permissible by law, expresses and explicitly prohibited. Your use of any of the games is governed by Psyonix's end user license agreement. 8. Prohibited user conduct. You are solely responsible and liable for any user-generated content that you upload, post, input, publish, or otherwise distribute using the services. As a condition of your use of the services, you agree not to use the services in any unlawful or prohibited purpose. Are you almost done? No, I'm not almost done. I finished the EULA. Now I'm on the terms of service. Then I have the privacy policy. Hold on, I need to see where I am. You further represent, warrant, and agree that you will not, under any circumstances, contribute any user-generated content or otherwise use the services or interact with the services in a manner that A. constitutes or includes any illegal, unauthorized copy in whole or in part of another person's copyrighted or copyrightable work, discloses trade secrets without authorization, or otherwise violates the proprietary rights of a third party or Psyonix. B. Misrepresents the source or identity of any material. C. Is unlawful, vulgar, obscene, defamatory, libellous, threatening, abusive, harassing, harmful, toxic, or promotes racism, bigotry, hatred, or physical harm of any kind against any individual or group, or encourages any other conduct that would be considered a criminal offense, creates civil liability, or is otherwise offense or inappropriate or objectionable. D. Violates the rights of privacy or publicity of any person. E. Is false or deceptive. F. Displays pornographic or sexually explicit material of any kind. G. Excludes material that exploits people in a sexual or violent manner. 8. Posts, uploads, transmits, or streams any unauthorized, unsolicited material that disrupts the normal flow of chat or other activities in the services, including spam, junk mail, excessive mail, or chain letters. I is an advertisement or solicitation to sell a product or service to the users of the services or constitutes any other commercial use of the services without the prior written consent of psionics. J is unlawful under the laws of the United States or any individual state or locality, the laws of any foreign or local jurisdiction, or any international treaty or convention, or that is prohibited by any applicable government regulation. K interferes with the proper functioning of the services or violates any other of the terms. L sells, grants a security interest in, or transfers reproductions of all or any portion of the services to other parties in any way not expressly authorized herein, or that rents, leases, or licenses all or any portion of the services to others. M. Exploits the services or any of its parts for any commercial purpose whatsoever without the express prior written authorization of Cyanix. N. Hosts, provides, or develops services for or using the services or intercepts, emulates, disrupts, or redirects the communication protocols, hardware, software, network, or system used by psionics in any way, including without limitation through protocol emulation, tunneling, packet sniffing, modifying, or adding components to the services. Use of a utility program or any techniques now know or hereafter developed for any purpose, including without limitation unauthorized access in any form of the internet. 1 second. Let me check something. All right. All right. O. Facilitates, creates, or maintains any unauthorized connection to the services or any portion thereof, including without limitation any connection to any unauthorized server that emulates or attempts to emulate, hacks, or reverse engineers the services. All connections to the services or any portion thereof may only be made through the methods and means expressly approved by psionics. Under no circumstances may you connect or create tools that allow you or others to connect to the services or any portion thereof other than those expressly provided by psionics. P. Develops or allows any viruses, malware, adware, spyware, Trojan horses, cancel bots, or other automated bots, autoplayers, T-utilities, spoofers, keyloggers, or other circumvention devices to be present on any machine used to access the services and or to attempt to upload utilize such devices against the services. Q is related to any games of chance, gambling, sweepstakes, lotteries, contests, surveys, chain letters, pyramid schemes, or other similar services whether or not they are used for commercial gain. R. Collects, harvests, scrapes, or captures any other user's information, email addresses or other personal data of any other users to send unsolicited emails or gain other communication, whether or not it is done for commercial gain. S. Makes false reports of user abuse to psionics or affiliated companies and partners. T. Impersonates any person, including an employee of psionics or any third party. Or U. Attempts in any manner to obtain the password, account, or other security information from any other user. You should not post any user-generated content if you are in doubt that its legality or its prohibition by the terms. You acknowledge that Psionics is a service provider that may allow its users to interact online regarding topics and content self-chosen by the users. Psionics does not endorse any user-generated content or any opinion, recommendation, or advice that may be expressed. Psionics shall have no obligation to monitor any user-generated content. Nonetheless, Psionics and its agents shall have and reserve the right to monitor any user-generated content from time to time for any lawful purpose. Psyonix may, without notice to you, remove or block any user-generated content, including disabling access to such user-generated content. Psyonix also may terminate your access to the services and refer the user-generated content to local enforcement if it is in violation of any federal, state, or local law or regulation. Psyonix expressly reserves the right to monitor any and all network traffic between any users and the services to prevent the use of said means to compromise the services. Psyonix, within its sole discretion, expressly reserves the right to ban you from or limit your access to the services temporarily or permanently for failure to comply with the restrictions and limitations contained in these terms, including without limitation this Section 8, and such failure to comply may subject you to a civil and or criminal liability. 9. User registration and account security. As a condition to using certain components of the services, you may be required to register with Psyonix and select a password and or screen name user ID to obtain a personal account on a particular game system or platform. In addition, Psyonix may automatically assign you a user ID on each such game system or platform to identify you to our servers. If you are required to enter registration information, you agree to provide Psyonix with accurate, complete, and updated registration information. Failure to do so shall constitute a breach of the terms, which may result in immediate automatic termination of your access to the services. You may not select or use a user ID a name of another person within the intent to impersonate that person. Use as a user ID a name subject to any rights, including trademarks or copyrights, of a person other than you with appropriate authorization, or use as a user ID name that is otherwise offensive, vulgar, or obscene. Psyonix reserves the right to refuse registration of or to cancel a user ID in its sole and absolute discretion. Notwithstanding the foregoing, you acknowledge that Psyonix cannot guarantee the accuracy of any information submitted by any user of the services, nor any identifying information about the user. You are solely responsible for the activity that occurs through your account. You shall be solely responsible for maintaining the confidentiality of your password. You may not share your password with a third party or use the account of a third party. You agree to notify Psyonix immediately in writing of any unauthorized use of your account or other account-related security breach in which you are aware. You may cancel your account at any time upon written notice to Psyonix. 10. Virtual currency and virtual goods. How long will this take? Around like 2 hours and 15 minutes. Potentially. That's what I estimated. But it will take even longer if I have to keep reading comments, so here we go. Virtual currency and virtual goods. If a game allows you to purchase and or earn through play a license to use virtual currency and virtual goods as defined by law, the following additional terms and conditions apply. A. The games may enable users to use fictional virtual currency. Okay, lit. Player license to use virtual currency and virtual goods as defined below. The following additional terms and conditions apply. A. The games may enable users to 1. Use fictional virtual currency as a medium of exchange exclusively within each such game, virtual currency or VC. 2. Gain access to and certain limited rights to use virtual goods within the game, virtual currency or VC, and 3. Barter or exchange VC and VG with other users of the game. Regardless of the terminology used, VC and VG represent a limited license right governed by these terms. Subject to the terms and of compliance with these terms, Psyonix hereby grants you the non-exclusive, non-transferable, non-sublicensable, limited and irrevocable right to use VC and VG obtained by you for your personal non-commercial gameplay exclusively within the games. Except as otherwise prohibited by applicable law, VC and VG are obtained by you and are licensed to you, and you hereby acknowledge that no title or ownership in or VC and VG is being transferred to assigned hereunder. These terms should not be construed as the sale of any rights in VC and VG. VC and VG do not have an equivalent value in real currency and do not act as a substitute for real currency. You are prohibited from converting VC and VG into a unit of value outside of the game, such as actual currency or actual goods. You acknowledge and agree that Psyonix may revise or take any action that impacts the perceived value of purchase price for any VC and/or VG at any time, except as prohibited by applicable law. VC and VG do not incur fees or for non-use, provided, however, that the license granted hereunder to VC and VG will terminate in accordance with the terms and conditions of these terms in the game's documentation when Psyonix ceases providing the services, or these terms are otherwise terminated. Psyonix, in its sole discretion, reserves the right to charge fees for the right to use to access or use VC or VG, and or may distribute VC or VG with or without charge. B. You may have the ability to purchase VC or earn VC from Psyonix for the completion of certain activities or accomplishments in the games. For example, Psyonix may provide a VC or VG upon the completion of an in-game activity, such as attaining a new level, completing a task, or creating user content. Once obtained, VC and/or VG will be credited to your user account. You may purchase VC and VG only within the games or throughout a platform participating third-party online store, application store, and/or other store authorized by Psyonix, all referred to herein as software store. Purchase and use of the in-game currencies. Hold on, I need a drink of water. Excuse me about that. Purchase and use of in-game current items or currency through a software store are subject to the software store's governing documents, including but not limited to these terms. This online service has been sub-licensed to you by the software store. Psyonix may offer discounts or promotions on the purchase of VC, and such discounts and promotions may be modified or discontinued by Psyonix at any time without the notice of you. Upon completing an authorized purchase of VC from a software store, the amount of purchased VC will be credited to your user account. Psyonix shall establish a maximum amount you may spend to purchase VC per transaction and/or per day, which may vary depending on the associated software. Psyonix, in its sole discretion, may impose additional limits on the amount of VC you may purchase or use, how you may use VC, and the maximum balance of VC that may be credited to your user account. You are solely responsible for all VC purchases made through your user account, regardless of whether or not authorized by you. See, like, I already read that exact whole thing in the enter use license agreement, whatever. Like, the VC and VG is the most boring one. But you can access and view your available VC and VG in your user account when logged into your user account. Psyonix reserves the right in its sole discretion to make all calculations regarding the available VC and VG in your user account. Psyonix further reserves the right in its sole discretion to determine the amount of and manner in which VC is credited and debited from your user account in connection with your purchase of VG or for other purposes. While Psyonix strives to make all such calculations on a consistent and reasonable basis, you hereby acknowledge and agree that Psyonix's determination... Wow, Christian. That's not true, by the way. While Psyonix strives to make all such calculations on a consistent and reasonable basis, you hereby acknowledge and agree that Psyonix's determination of the available VC and VG in your user license is final, unless you can provide documentation to Psyonix that such calculation was or is intentionally incorrect. D. All purchased in-game virtual currency and/or virtual goods may be consumed or lost by players in the course of gameplay according to the game rules applicable to currency and goods. Do you have any peppermint wheels? No, I don't have peppermint wheels, and this is a stream where I'm reading, so I'm not going to be doing trading, my guy. All purchased in-game virtual currency and/or virtual goods may be consumed or lost by players in the course of gameplay according to the game rules applicable to currency and goods, which may vary depending on the associated game. VC and VG may only be used within the wheels, and Psyonix, in its sole discretion, may limit use of VC and/or VG to a single game. The authorized uses of purposes of VC and VG may change at any time. Your available VC and/or VG as shown in your user account will be reduced each time you use a VC or VG within the games. The use of any VC and/or VG constitutes a demand against and withdrawal from your available VC and or VG and your user account. You must have sufficient available VC and or VG in your user account in order to complete a transaction within the games. VC and or VG in your user account may be reduced without notice upon the occurrence of certain events um occurrence of your available VC are shown in your user account will be reduced each time you use a VC and or VG within the games. The use of any VC under VG constitutes a demand against the withdrawal from your available VC under VG in your user account. You must have sufficient available VC under VG in your user account in order to complete a transaction within the games. VC under VG in your user account may be reduced without the notice upon the occurrence of certain events related to your use of the games. You are responsible for all uses of VC and VG made through your user account, regardless of whether or not authorized by you. You must notify Psyonix immediately upon discovering the unauthorized use of any VC or VG made through your user account by submitting a request to www.rocketleaguegaming/support. How much left do I have in the VC or Okay, thank God, because I'm getting tired of reading about virtual currency and virtual goods because I read this whole damn thing in the end user license agreement. VC and VG may only be redeemed for an in-game goods and services. You may not sell, lease, license, or rent VC or VG. VC and VG may only be redeemed for in-game goods or services and are not redeemable for any sum. Oh my god, dude, my charge is broken now. For any sum of money or monetary value or other goods from Psyonix or any other person or entity at any time except as expressly provided herein or otherwise required by applicable law. VC and VG have no cash value and neither Psyonix nor any other person or entity has an obligation to exchange your VC and or VG for anything of value, including but not limited to real currency. F. All purchases of VC and VG are final and under no circumstances will be such purposes refundable, transferable, or exchangeable, except as prohibited by applicable law. Psyonix has the absolute right to manage, regulate, control, modify, suspend, and or eliminate such VC and or VG as it sees fit in its sole discretion, and Psyonix shall have no liability to you or anyone else for the exercise of such rights. G. Any transferring, trading, selling, or exchanging of any VC or VG to anyone other than in gameplay using the games as expressly authorized by Psyonix, unauthorized transactions, including but not limited to Psyonix, and is strictly forbidden. Oh my god, can I read today? Psyonix reserves the right in its sole discretion to terminate, suspend, or modify your user account in your VC and VG to terminate these terms if you engage in, assist in, or request any unauthorized transactions. All users who participate in such activities hold on, let me reload this. I can't reload this. You guys should self-promote all you want because when it becomes a video, you're not going to see that in the live chat. And I don't really care. To modify your user account and your VC and VG or terminate these terms if you engage in, assist in, or request any unauthorized transactions. All users who participate in such activities do so at their own risk and hereby agree to indemnify and hold harmless Psyonix, its partners, licensors, affiliates, contractors, officers, directors, employees, and agents from all damages, losses, and expenses arising directly or indirectly from such actions. You acknowledge that Psyonix may request that the applicable software store or SOP suspend, terminate, discontinue, or reverse any unauthorized transaction. regardless of when such an unauthorized transaction occurred or has yet to occur, when it suspects or has evidence of fraud, violations of these terms, violations of any applicable law or regulation, or any intentional act designed to interfere or that otherwise has the effect or may have the effect of intervening in any way with the operation of the services. If Psyonix believes or has any reason to suspect that you have engaged in an unauthorized transaction, you further agree that Psyonix may, in its sole discretion, restrict your access to your available VC and VG and your user account, to terminate or suspend your user account and your rights to any VC, VG, and other items associated with your user account. Trade, invite me. Gooby's GP. I'm not trading with anybody. Can you read the title of this stream? I'm not going to trade with anyone. Alright, this is me reading the end user license privacy policy. I'm not here to trade with people. Alright? So if you want to trade, go on someone else's stream. Please. Because I'm not here to trade with anybody. If Sonics believes, yeah, okay, I read that. And sole discretion restrict your access to your available VCN or VG in your user account, or terminate or suspend your user account and your rights to any VC, VG, and other items associated with your user account. VC is only available to customers in certain locations. You may not purchase VC if you are not in an approved location. I read that whole damn thing in the end user license agreement, and I hate this so much. 11. Promotional programs and tournaments. Psyonix may implement marketing and promotional programs or tournaments in which users are offered benefits, considerations, or rewards based upon the performance of specified activities, the satisfaction of specified requirements, or other criteria. Any such program, including the eligibility and selection of users, the award, compensation, or other benefit to be granted users, if any, and the duration shall be at the sole and absolute discretion of Psyonix. You acquire no right or interest to participate in such program or to the impartial implementation of the program and distribution of any awards, compensation, or benefits. You hereby expressly waive and disclaim any such right or interest. To the extent such program may involve one or more third parties and permitted by applicable law, you further expressly waive and disclaim any such right or interest against such third party. Psyonix may elect in its sole and absolute discretion to contact you with regard to a program or tournament. You hereby expressly authorize Psyonix to contact you by means of the contact information you have provided to Psyonix. Additional terms and restrictions may apply to you if you choose to participate in promotional programs or tournaments. 12. Third-party websites and services. You guys want me to read number 12 in a goofy voice then? Should I read number 12 in a goofy voice? Yes, alright. The third-party websites and services. Solely as of convenience to you, Psyonix may provide links on the services to other websites owned by third parties. Further, the Psyonix services may be available to you through third-party websites, platforms, and or services. Unless otherwise expressly stated, the Psyonix does not endorse or control these third parties or their offering, and assumes no responsibility for them or the content contained therein. That hurts. That hurts a lot. Thanks, guys. 13. Use of the services outside of the United States. Oh my god, how long is this one? How long do I have left in this? Alright. I don't have so much left. But if you want, I can read the rest. I can read all of 13 in a British accent / Australian. You want to spam that? Get timed out, bud. The services. Number 13. Use of the services outside of the United States. The services are controlled and operated by psionics in the state of California, to the extent permissible by applicable local and except as expressly set forth in these terms. Psionics makes no representations or warranties, either expresses or implied, that services and other materials available through the services are appropriate, legally permissible, or available for use in other locations. Whether or not you use the service inside the United States of America. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Be quiet, Derv head. You should have them be. I'm gonna do a regular voice. Whether or not you use the services inside the United States of America, you agree to abide by any applicable export control laws and not to transfer by electronic transmission or otherwise any user-generated content, software, or other time you out, I dare you. Okay. Have fun. By electronic transmission or otherwise any user-generated content, software, or other materials subject to restrictions under such laws to a national destination prohibited by such laws without first obtaining and then complying with any requisite information authorization. You further agreed not to upload to the services any data or software that cannot be exported without the prior written government authorization, including but not limited to certain types of encryption software. 14. Oh my god. I'm literally gonna die soon. This isn't too bad, considering how much I've already read. 14. I've already read so much more, so I don't have that much. I think I'm like a little bit over halfway done. Thiago, I knew you were just gonna come back on a different account. That's why I timed out this account too. You can keep coming back and I'll keep timing out your accounts because you told me to. Alright. 14. General disclaimers. A. To the fullest extent allowed by applicable law, the services and any accompanying documentation and material are being provided to you as is without warranty of any kind whatsoever. Without limiting the intended generality of the preceding sentence, neither Psionics nor its licensors or suppliers warrants that the services of any portion... Wow. Alright, I'll leave Yago Vlogging and Gaming YT. I'll leave that one without a timeout right now. Anyway, neither Psionics nor its licensors or suppliers warrant that the services or any portion thereof, 1. Will be uninterrupted, secure, or error-free. Or that defects will be corrected. 2. Is compatible with any software, including without limitation internet browser software. 3. Is free of infection by viruses, worms, Trojan horses, or anything else manifesting the contaminating destructive properties. Or 4. Is free of defamatory, derogatory, and adult-oriented material, or material that some individuals may deem offensive or objectionable. To the fullest extent allowed by law, Psionics disclaims all representations, terms, warranties, whether express or implied, including but not limited to all implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose or use. B. Neither Psionics nor its licensors or suppliers is responsible for the conduct, whether online or offline, of any user of the services. Under no circumstances will Psionics or its licensors or suppliers be responsible for any loss or damage resulting from your use of the services. Any user-generated content posted on the services or transmitted to another user, or any transactions between or among you and other services, whether online or offline. C. The services are controlled and provided by Psyonix from its facilities in the United States of America, to the extent permissible by applicable local law and except as expressly set forth in these terms. Psyonix makes no representation that the services are appropriate or available for use in other locations. D. Because some jurisdiction prohibits the exclusion or limitation of liability for consequential or incidental damages, the above limitations may not apply to you to the extent that such exclusions or limitations are not permitted under local law. 15. Limitation of liability to the fullest extent allowed by law. To the fullest extent allowed by applicable law, Psyonix and its licensors, suppliers, officers, directors, shareholders, employees, and agents shall not be liable to you or any other person, whether under contract or otherwise, for in any indirect, special, incidental, or consequential damages of any kind, or for lost profits, loss of goodwill, work stoppage, accuracy of results, or computer failure or malfunction, and or B. Any amount in the aggregate in excess of the greater of 1,000, or 2. The amounts paid and or payable by you to Psyonix and or to a third party platform that provided you with any games in connection with the services in the 12-month period preceding this applicable claim, or 3. Any matter beyond Psyonix's reasonable control. Psyonix cannot and will not be responsible for any loss of your user-generated content or any interruptions of services, including but not limited to ISP disruptions, software or hardware failures, or any other event which may result in a loss of data or disruption of the service. Notwithstanding anything to the contrary in these terms, nothing in the terms shall exclude or limit anything which not be excluded or limited under applicable law, including without limitation death or personal injury arising through negligence or for fraud. 16. Indemnification. To the maximum extent permitted by law, you agree to defend, indemnify, and hold harmless Psyonix, its officers, directors, employees, and agents from and against all claims, damages, obligations, losses, liabilities, costs, or debt, and expenses, including but not limited to attorney fees arising from your use of the services, your violation of any of the terms, your violation of any third-party right, including without limitation any copyright, trade secret, privacy, or property right, or any claim that your user-generated content caused damage to a third party. I am a hacker. Your brother's name is Ethan. Wow, that's funny, dude. You're Ethan's friend, aren't you? I am a hacker, man. Your brother's name is Ethan. Anyway, to the maximum extent permitted by law. No, wait, no. Yeah. To claim. Okay. Obligations, losses, liability, costs, or debt, and expenses, including but not limited to. Your dad wears glasses. He has gray and black hair. Yeah, my brother probably told you that. Or, you actually are Ethan. I don't care, to be honest. And expenses, including but not limited to attorney fees arising from your use of the services, your violation of any of the terms, your violation of any third-party right, including without limitation any copyright, trade secret, privacy, or property right, or any claim that your user-generated content caused damage to a third party. 17. Binding individual arbitration. Go upstairs and ask if it's him. I dare you. What? Ask who if it's him. Oh, go upstairs and ask if it's Ethan. No. I'm about to keep reading this, my guy. We're about to finish this. We're about to finish the terms of service. Then we got to go on to the freaking privacy policy. The term dispute means any dispute, claim, or controversy between you and Psionics arising from or relating to the terms of services, whether based in contract, statute, regulation, ordinance, tort, including but not limited to fraud, misrepresentation, fraudulent inducement, or negligence, or any other legal equitable theory, and includes the validity, enforceability, or scope of this Section 17, with the exception of the enforceability of the class action waiver clause below. You know where I live? You want me to expose it? Yeah, okay. You can do it. Expose it right now. I'll stop reading until you expose it. Now, I want to stop reading until you expose it. You can do it right now. I'll keep going. But not limited to fraud, misrepresentation, fraudulent inducement, or negligence, or any other legal or equitable theory, and includes the validity, enforceability, or scope of this Section 17, with the exception of the enforceability of the class action waiver clause below. Dispute is to be given the broadcast stoma. Of course I live there. Do I care though?
Not really.
Dispute is to be given to the broadest possible meaning that will be enforced. If you have a dispute with Psionics or Psionics' officers, directors, employees, and agents that cannot be resolved through negotiation within the time frame described in the notice of dispute clause below, then you and Psionics agree to seek a resolution of the dispute only as follows. If you are using or accessing the services outside of the European Union through binding arbitration of that dispute in accordance with the terms of this Section 17, binding arbitration means that the dispute will be resolved by a neutral arbitrator instead of in a court by a judge or jury. If and only if you are using or accessing the services in the European Union, then pursuant to the terms of Section 20 below. Right to opt out of binding arbitration and class action waiver within 30 days. If you do not wish to be bound by the binding arbitration and class action waiver in this Section 17, you must notify Psionics in writing within 30 days after the date that you accept these terms useless, unless a longer period is required by applicable law. Your written notification must be either A, sent via email to legalpsionics.com, or B, mailed to Psionics Incorporated at 401 W.A. Street, Suite 2400, San Diego, California 92101, 7909, USA, ATTN. Where am I? Legal arbitration. In either case, you must include your name, your address, and 3, a clear statement that you do not wish to resolve disputes with Psionics through binding arbitration. Notice of dispute. If you have a dispute with Psionics, you must send written notice to either by A, sending an email to legal@psionics.com, or B, written to Psionics Incorporated at 401 W.A. Street, Suite 2400, San Diego, California 92101, 7909, USA. Legal arbitration, ATTN. Legal arbitration to give Psionics the opportunity to resolve the dispute informally through negotiation. You agree to negotiate resolution of the dispute in good faith for no less than 60 days after you provide notice of the dispute. If Psionics does not resolve your dispute within 60 days from receipt of notice of the dispute, you or Psionics may pursue your claim in arbitration pursuant to the terms in this Section 17. Class action waiver. Any dispute resolution proceedings, whether in arbitration or in court, will be conducted only on an individual basis and not in a class or representative action, or as a named or unnamed member in a class. Yako, just text me on messages. Like, on my phone. As a named or unnamed member in a class, consolidated representative, or private attorney general action, unless both you and Psionics specifically agree to do so in writing following initiation of the proceedings. The waiver in relation to your participation in class actions in these terms is not applicable by the extent such waiver is prohibited by law. Fine, Yago, call me on my phone, and I'll pick it up. Excuse me, guys, I'll be right back. Now.
Hey, Lucas the stream, what's good? I just want to let you know that Lucas likes Cal City. The Jolly Plains right now. Alright, bye, Lucas. Love you, bro. No homo.
Okay, then. Now I gotta go all the way back. Initiation of arbitration proceeding, selection of arbitrator. If you or Psionics elect to resolve your dispute through binding arbitration, the party initiating the arbitration proceeding may initiate it with the Judicial Arbitration and Mediation Services Incorporation. JAMS, www.jamsadder.com. The terms of this Section 17 govern in the event they conflict with the rules of arbitration organizations selected by the parties. Arbitration procedures. Because the software and or service provided to you by Psionics concern interstate commerce, the Federal Arbitration Act, FAA, governs the arbitrability of all disputes. However, applicable federal or state law may also apply to the substance of any disputes. Subject to these terms, any dispute shall finally be settled in English in accordance with the streamlined arbitration rules and procedures of JAMS, then in effect by one commercial arbitrator with substantial experience in resolving intellectual property and commercial contract disputes, who shall be selected from the appropriate list of JAMS arbitrators in accordance with such rules. Judgment upon the award rendered by such arbitrator may be entered in any court of competent jurisdiction. Notwithstanding the foregoing obligation to arbitrate disputes, each party shall have the right to pursue injunctive or other equitable relief at any time. Alright, notwithstanding foregoing obligation to arbitrate disputes, each party shall have the right to pursue injunctive or other equitable relief at any time from any court of competent jurisdiction. Further, if your claims do not exceed $75,000 and you provided notice to and negotiated in good faith with Psionics as described above, if the arbitrator finds that you are the prevailing party in the arbitration, you will be entitled to recover reasonable attorney's fees and costs as determined by the arbitrator, in addition to any rights to recover the same under controlling state of or federal law afforded to Psionics by you. The arbitrator will make any award in writing but need not provide a statement of reasons unless requested by a party. Such award will be binding and final, except for any right of appeal provided by the FAA, and may be entered in any court having jurisdiction over the parties for purpose of enforcement. Location of arbitration. You or Psionics may initiate arbitration in San Diego, California, USA. Severability of class action waiver. If the class action waiver clause is found to be illegal or unenforceable, this entire Section 17 will be unenforceable and the dispute will be decided by a court, and you and Psionics each agree to waive in that instance to the fullest extent allowed by law any trial by jury. 18. General provisions. Subject to and the maximum extent permitted by the local law applicable in the country in which you obtain or use the service, you agree that the services shall be deemed exclusively based in the state of California, USA, and these terms shall be deemed to have been made and executed exclusively in the state of California, USA. Any dispute arising out of these terms shall be resolved in accordance with the laws of the state of California, USA, without reference to its conflict of law provisions or the United Nations Convention on Contracts for the International Sale of Goods. Subject to the provisions of Section 17, you agree that any claim asserted in any legal proceeding by you or Psionics in connection with these terms shall be commenced and maintained in any state or federal court located in San Diego County, California, USA, having subject matter jurisdiction with respect to such dispute. You and Psionics each agree to submit to the personal jurisdiction of such court. The prevailing party in any such proceeding shall be entitled to reimbursement of court costs, including reasonable attorney fees, in addition to any other remedy awarded. In the event of any provision of these terms shall be held by a court or other tribunal of competent jurisdiction to be unenforceable, such provision will be enforced to the maximum extent permissible, and the remaining portions of these terms shall remain in full force and effect. You may not transfer or assign any of your rights or obligations provided in the terms without the express prior written approval of Psionics. Psionics may assign these terms without the restriction of any kind. No failure on the part of Psionics to enforce any provision of these terms shall be deemed a waiver or consent. These terms and the privacy policy constitute and contain the entire agreement and understanding between you and Psionics with respect to the subject matter hereof, and supersedes any prior oral or written agreements or understandings. As between Psionics and its licensors, Psionics will be solely responsible for the services and support for the services. You and Psionics acknowledge that the following are intended third-party beneficiaries of these terms: Sony Computer Entertainment Incorporated, Sony Computer Entertainment America LLC, Sony Computer Entertainment Europe Ltd. There are no other third-party beneficiaries in these terms. Provisions that, by their nature, should survive termination of these terms shall survive termination. By way of example, all of the following will survive terminations: Sections 5, 6, 8, 12, and 14 through 20. 19. Digital Millennium Copyright Act Notice. As an online service provider, Sonics has adopted the following general policy regarding copyright infringement in accordance with the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, 17 USC, whatever the heck that sign is, 512 DMCA. The address of the Psionics designated agent to receive notification of claimed infringement designated agent is Copyright Designated Agent Psionics Incorporated, 401 WA Street, Suite 2400, San Diego, California 92101-7909, USA. Legal at psionics.com. For any notice of infringement to be effective, the notice must include a physical or electronic signature of a person authorized to act on behalf of the intellectual property owner of an exclusive right that is allegedly infringed. B. A description of the copyrighted work that you can claim has been infringed upon. C. A description of where the material that you claim is infringing is located in services. D. Information to permit Psionics to contact the complaining party, including address, telephone number, and, if available, an email address at which the complaining party may be contacted. E. A statement by the complaining party that you have a good faith belief that the disputed use is not authorized by the copyright owner, its agent, or the law. And F. A statement made under penalty of perjury that the information in the notification is accurate and that the complaining party is authorized to act on behalf of the owner and of the owner of an exclusive right that is allegedly infringed. It is Psionics' policy to block access to or remove content that it believes in good faith to be copyrighted material that has been illegally copied and distributed by any user or other content provider, and remove and discontinue service to repeat offenders. If you believe that user-generated content or other material residing on or accessible through the services infringes a copyright, please send a notice of copyright infringement to the designated agent. The notice of infringement should conform to the elements of notification listed above. Once proper infringement notification is received by the designated agent, Psionics may remove or disable access to the claimed infringing user-generated content or other material. Notify the accused infringing party that it has removed or disabled access to the user-generated content or other material, and determine appropriate measures to prevent recurrence by the accused infringing party. If the accused infringing party believes the material was removed or to which access was disabled is not infringing, or she/he believes that she/he has the power to post, has the right to post. Great content, keep it up, brother. Thanks, NBA guy. I appreciate it, man. Notify the accused infringing party that it has removed or disabled access to the user-generated content or other material, and determine appropriate measures to prevent recurrence by the accused infringing party. Wait, hold on. I didn't read part of that. If you believe that user-generated content or other material residing on or accessible through the services infringes a copyright, please send a notice of copyright infringement to the designated agent. The notice of infringement should conform to the elements of the notification listed above. Once proper infringement notification is received by the designation agent, Psionics may remove or disable access to the claimed infringing user-generated content or other material, notifying the user infringing party that it has removed or disabled access to the user-generated content or other material, and determine appropriate measures to prevent recurrence by the accused infringing party. You know I'm Epic Yeah, I know you're Epic Destroyer. I remember you. We used to, we made a video together, and then I always saw your comments on videos I watched. Yeah, I still remember that is your account. I still remember it's you. You're one of the people who've watched my channel for the longest times. And I appreciate that. If the accused infringing party believes that the material was removed or to which access was disabled is not infringing, or she/he believes that she/he has the right to post and use such material from the copyright owner's agent, or pursuant to the law, she/he may send us a counter notice containing the following information to the designated agent. Hold on, how much do I have left? Oh, I really have not much left of this. Okay. A. A physical or electronic signature of the accused infringing party. B. Identification of the material that has been removed or to which access has been disabled and their location at which the material appeared before it was removed or disabled. C. A statement that the accused infringing party has a good faith belief that the material was removed or disabled as a result of mistake or misidentification of the material. And D. The accused infringing party's name, address, telephone number, and if available, email address. Add a statement that such person or entity consents to the jurisdiction of the federal court for the judicial district in which the accused infringing party's address is located, or if that party's address is located outside the United States, for any judicial district in which Psionics is located, and that such person or entity will accept service of process from the person who provided notification of the alleged infringement. My throat hurts now. I need a water break. Oh, I'm about to finish. Holy crap. If a counter notice is received by the designated agent, Psionics may, in its discretion, send a copy of the counter notice to the original complaining party, informing that a person that Psionics may replace the removed material or cease disabling it in 10 business days. Unless the copyright owner files an action seeking a court order against the content provider accused of committing infringement, the removed material may be replaced or access to it restored in 10 to 14 business days or more after receipt of the counter notice at Psionics' discretion. 20. Users in the European Union. If and only if you are using or accessing the services in the European Union, the terms of this Section 20 apply. Any dispute shall be resolved under the laws of England and Wales. You agree that any claim asserted in any legal proceeding by you or Psionics in connection with these terms shall be commenced and maintained in any court of competent jurisdiction in London, England. And you and Psionics each agree to submit the personal jurisdiction of each of such court. I hereby acknowledge that I have read in their entirety and understanding the foregoing terms. I agree that by browsing, installing, or using the services, I am acknowledging my agreements to be bound by these terms. This terms of use agreement was last updated June 12th, 2018. Holy crap, privacy policy time. Oh my god, there's only 10 sections. This one's quick. I did that. Yeah, but now I have to do the privacy policy. Holy crap, dude. I'm gonna die. Hold on, let's just see how much I've read so far. I've read all of this for the ULA. I've read all of this for the terms of service. And now, all I have to do is read this measly privacy policy paragraph. Or not paragraph, but you know. This shouldn't be as bad though, because it's not even close to being as long as the end user license agreement or the terms of service. So, I most this will take around like 20 minutes, but screw it. Here we go. Psionics privacy policy. Psionics Incorporation, a Delaware corporation. Psionics, we, our, or us, is committed to maximizing your experience on our services. This Psionics privacy policy explains how we collect, protect, use, and share information gathered about you online through our services. We hope this disclosure will help you increase your confidence in our services to enhance your experience. Please note that the privacy policy applies only to information submitted and collected online through our services. It does not apply to information that you may submit it to us offline or to websites maintained by other companies or organizations to which we may link, or third-party platforms from which you access the services such as PlayStation, Xbox, Steam, or Switch, the third-party platforms. Please don't torture yourself. Now I'm going to torture myself. I need it for the views. Do it for the views. Remember that your use of Psionics' services is at all times subject to our terms of use, www.rocketleague.com/TOS, terms of service, which incorporates this privacy policy. Any terms we use in this policy without defining them have the definitions given to them in the terms of use. Personally unidentifiable information is information that can be used either on its own or together with other information to uniquely identify you or from which you can be identified, such as your name, email address, certain demographic number, such as age, gender, and zip code, or credit card number. 1. What types of information does Psionics collect and how will it be used? Psionics will only use your personally identifiable information to provide you with Psionics products and services, or to communicate with you about such products and services. If you choose to make content or a document public, we recommend you redact any and all references to people and addresses, as we can't protect public data and we are not responsible for any violation of privacy law you may be liable for. The following information is automatically collected when you use our game services: IP address, unique platform-specific identifier, unique identifier specifically for your services account. We also may collect additional information including the type of operating system, gameplay attempts, progression and results, country of your device, and identification of crashes and defects. We process the data to operate, improve, understand, and personalize our services. Specifically, we use the data to create and manage user accounts, provide support and assistance for the services, fulfill user requests, comply with our legal or contractual obligations, and protect against or deter fraudulent, illegal, or harmful actions. Hold on, let me plug in my controller because I think I don't want it to die while I'm reading. Here we go. We employ industry standard techniques to protect against unauthorized access of data about you that we store, including personally identified information. Sorry, I lost where I was. Including personally identifiable information. This information is collected during game registration or other online information. Wait. Hold on. I'm gonna read from the top again, just because I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. The following information is automatically collected when you use our game services: IP address, unique platform specific identifier, unique identifier specifically for your service account. We may also collect additional information including the type of operating system, gameplay attempts, progression, and results, country of your device, and identification of crashes and defects. We process the data to operate, improve, understand, and to personalize our services. Specifically, we use the data to create and manage our user accounts, provide support and assistance for the services, fulfill user requests, comply with our legal or contractual obligations, and protect against or deter fraudulent, illegal, or harmful actions. Wait, whose else is my party? Oh, Jack is. We employ industry standard techniques to protect against unauthorized access of data about you that we store, including personally identifiable information. This information is collected during game registration or other online information service we may offer, or when contacting us. Our services contain links through which an online user can contact us. We collect personally identifiable information contained in this communication in the purpose of responding to our users' questions and or comments. No matter what method we use to collect personally identifiable information, and no matter how we use that information, we will only collect the information deemed reasonably necessary to fulfill your online requests and our legitimate business objectives, provided that on balance these legitimate business objectives do not prejudice your own privacy or otherwise permitted by applicable law. 2. Psionics does not knowingly collect personally identifiable information from children. We do not knowingly collect or solicit personally identifiable information from a child under 13 or older if applicable law provides for different protections. If you are a child under 13 or older, if applicable law provides for different protections, please do not attempt to send any personally identifiable information about yourself. If you believe that a child under 13 or older, if applicable by law, provides for different protections, has provided us with personally identifiable information, please contact us at set forth below in Section 9. Please note that children under 13 or older, if applicable law provides for different protections, may be required to provide certain percent of personally identifiable information to a third-party platform. We do not have access to that personally identifiable information and do not control the practices of third-party platforms. We may collect unique device identifier information about users without knowledge of their ages, as described in more detail below. 13. What happens if I refuse to provide my personally identifiable information with Psionics? If you choose not to submit personally identifiable information when requested, you may not be able to access certain areas or portions of our services. You may limit to the products and services we can provide you, or they may not be personalized based on your preferences. 4. Does Psionics use cookies or other means to collect information? Does Psionics use cookies or other means to collect personal information? So I don't know why that read that twice. Anyways, we may collect some information about you using data collection technology so that it may not be readily apparent to you that it is being collected. For instance, when you come to our websites, your IP address is collected so that we know where to send information you are requesting. An IP address is a number that is used by computers on the network to identify your computer every time you log onto the internet. We may also transfer your browser or device a cookie, which is a small file or recording device. Oh my god, can I read? We may also transfer to your browser or device a cookie, which is a small file or record-keeping device that may be stored on your device that allows Psionics to recognize your device, and that tells us how and when pages and features in our services are visited by and how many people. You can disable cookies or set your browser to alert you when cookies are being sent to your computer. This information may be used to make our services more interesting and useful to you. Additionally, they may combine this information with other information to identify a user in order to enforce compliance with our terms of use, or to protect our services or other users of the services. We do not collect information about your online activity after you leave our services. We may collect technical information about your use of the service through the use of tracking technologies and analytics. By way of example, data we may collect includes the following analytics: how many times you access the service, traffic data, the service that you will access to that you use to the service that you use. Wow. I can't read anymore. But I'm still gonna. The devices that you use to access the service, your internet service provider, and the actions you take when playing the service. Number 5, almost done. Okay, we're really almost done now. I got this. With whom does Psionics share my personally identifiable information? Except as described in this privacy policy, we do not share information we have collected about you in personally identifiable form unless doing so is appropriate to carry out your own request or you have otherwise consented to such disclosure or otherwise permitted by applicable law. We believe it is needed to enforce our terms of use. We believe we are required to do so by law or comply with legal process. We believe it is needed to detect, prevent, or address fraud, security, or technical issues. It is needed to protect our property, legal rights, or that of others. The services are operated in the United States. Specifically, if you are a resident of the European Union, EU, you should be aware that your personally identifiable information will be transferred outside the European Economic Area, EEA, to the United States or other countries outside the EEA, the laws of which may be deemed by the EU have to have inadequate data protection. We do not share personally identifiable information with third parties except as we expressly state below. We may not aggregate and or anonymize we may not aggregate and or anonymize data about you such that it no longer specifically identifies you as an individual identifiable person. We may use that information and share it with third parties to help improve the services in such third parties' products and services. From time to time, we may employ and share your personally identifiable information with vendors who use it solely to provide support and services to us, e.g. technical support and network delivery. We only authorize these entities to use your personally identifiable information for the purpose of providing services to us, and these entities have agreed to maintain the confidentiality, security, and integrity for the personally identifiable information they obtain from us. Under California Civil Code sections 1798.83-1798.84, California residents are entitled to contact us to prevent disclosure of personally identifiable information to third parties for such third parties' direct marketing purposes. We do not share personally identifiable information to third parties for such third parties' direct marketing purposes. 1 second. It's not even my party. I don't know why I got a suggestion. Further, psionics may sell, transfer, or otherwise disclose user information, including personally identifiable information, in connection with a corporate merger, consolidation, the sale of substantially all of its assets related to the services you use, or other fundamental corporate change. Any such transfer shall continue to be subject to this privacy policy, and you will be notified via account message or other prominent notice. You may request a copy of the personally identifiable information held by us by contacting us as set forth below in Section 9. Section 6. Corrections, updates, removal, or data portability. If you wish to review, change, correct, update, or delete any personally identifiable information that we may have collected about you, please contact us as set forth below in Section 9. Certain information may not be editable or deletable. Section 7. What safeguards does Psionics use to protect my personally identifiable information? We maintain appropriate safeguards that ensure the security, integrity, and privacy of the personally identifiable information we collect from all users. Personally identifiable information collected by us is stored in secure operating environments that are not available to the public and are only accessible by authorized employees. We also have security measures in place to protect the loss, misuse, and alteration of the information under our control. 8. What if I am a European resident? If you are a resident of the EU, United Kingdom, Liechtenstein, Norway, or Iceland, you may have additional rights under the EU General Data Protection Regulation, the GDPR, with respect to your personal data processed in connection with the device services. Personal data processed in connection with the services as outlined below. For clarity, the term personally identifiable information as used in this privacy policy includes personal data if and to the extent this Section 8 applies to you. For this section, we use the terms personal data and processing as they are defined in the GDPR, but personal data generally means information that can be used individually to individually identify a person, and processing generally covers actions that can be performed in connection with data such as collection, use, storage, and disclosure. Where applicable, this section is intended to supplement and not replace the rest of this privacy policy. If there are any conflicts between this section and other provision of this privacy policy, the policy or portion that is more protective of the personal data shall control to the extent of such conflict. If you have any questions about this section or whether any of this section applies to you, please contact us at set forth below in Section 9. We will only process your personal data if we have a lawful basis for doing so. Lawful bases for processing include consent, contractual necessity, and our legitimate interests or the legitimate interest of others to prevent fraud and illegal activity, including reserving the right to disclose your identity and to any third party claiming violation of intellectual property, and working with console operators to assist with fraud prevention and other processing grounds such as complying with a legal obligation or necessary for a task carried out in the public interest, as further described below. Other uses of your information. We keep your information confidential, but we may disclose it to group members, personnel, suppliers, or subcontractors in relation to a merger or acquisition as required by law, or as necessary to enforce or apply the terms of agreements and protect our rights, property, or safety of Psionics, our customers, and others. Why do I keep reading it? What do you mean, why do I keep reading it? Because I'm reading the whole damn thing? Alright, yeah, no, it is long. That's what she said. Just kidding, that's definitely not what she said. We keep your information confidential, but we may disclose it to group members, personnel, suppliers, or subcontractors in relation to a merger or acquisition or as required by law, or as necessary to enforce or apply the terms of agreements and protect our rights, property, or safety of Psionics, our customers, or others. Automated decision making. We use automated decision making methods which do not involve human involvement to process your information only in the ways that are described in this privacy policy. We process your personal information via automated decision-making methods in order to identify users who are in violation of our terms of service. Our automated decision-making methods are designed to detect violations by looking out for excessive, unusual, or negative behaviors related to activities such as using inappropriate language, bullying, and cheating. If users are determined to be or suspected of being in violation of our terms of service, actions may be taken and we may block or suspend users from the service. In this scenario, the user will be notified of the outcome and will have the right to obtain human intervention to express his or her point of view and contest the decision. How long we retain your personal data. We may retain personal data about you for as long as you have an open account with us or as otherwise necessary to provide your services and for 24 months after you close your account or for longer periods where we may retain such personal data according to applicable law. In some cases, we retain personal data for longer if doing so is necessary to comply with our legal obligations, resolve disputes, or collect fees owed, is otherwise permitted or required by applicable law, rule, or regulation. Afterwards, we retain some information in a personalized or aggregated form, but not in a way that would identify you personally. Your rights regarding personal data under the GDPR. You have certain rights with respect to your personal data, including access, rectification, I don't know, erasure, objection, and rights to file a complaint. For more information about these rights or to submit a related request, please contact us as set forth below in Section 9. Please note that in some circumstances we may not be... What are you doing with your life? No, I don't know, man. I'm just making some dumb decisions. But I'm almost done. There's no outcome of this except for me feeling really dizzy and wanting to go to sleep and my throat hurting, but I don't care. Please note that in some circumstances we may not be able to fully comply with your request, such as if it violates the rights of others or if it is not required by law. In some cases we may also need you to provide us with additional information, which may include personal data if necessary to verify your identity and the nature of your request. 9. How to contact us to ask a question or file a complaint. If you have any privacy questions, complaints, or comments regarding your game account and our game services, please contact us by submitting a ticket through our customer support portal at https://support.rockyleague.com. If you have any privacy questions, complaints, or comments regarding other non-game services such as our forums, please contact us via email at privacy.psionics.com. If you have general questions not related to privacy, you can visit our customer support page at https://support.rocketleague.com. Oh shoot, bro! I'm at the end. I'm at section 10. I'm fine. This is it, boys. This is it, Chief. I'm about to finish. How far are we in? Exactly 2 hours in. Exactly 2 hours in. We are about to finish the end user license agreement, the terms of service, and the privacy policy. Here we go. 10. Changes in the Psionics privacy policy. Psionics reserves the right to make changes to this privacy policy at any time. If Psionics changes its privacy policy, we will post those changes on our website so that you and other users are always aware of what information is collected, how it is used, and under what circumstances, if any, it is disclosed. You should also check back from time to time to ensure you are aware of any changes. If we are going to use personally identifiable information in a manner different from that stated the time of collection, we will notify you and others via email by placing a prominent notice in our services. By using the Psionics services... Wait. Did I read this whole thing? Oh my god. Personally, if we are going to use personally identifiable information in a manner different from that stated at the time of collection, we will notify you and others via email or by placing a prominent notice in our services. Okay, this is it, Chief. Here we go. By using the Psionics services, you signify your consent to the Psionics privacy policy. If you do not agree to this privacy policy, please do not use our services. Your continued use of our services will signify your acceptance of these changes. This Psionics privacy policy was updated. Oh, I messed up. This Psionics privacy policy was updated May 25th, 2018. Oh my god, I'm literally about to die. Thanks for watching the stream. And I'm probably never going to talk in my life because I just said the most words ever. Oh my god, dude. I'm trying to, like, delete. Alright. Thanks for watching.